to EA Sports F1 Manager, a game set the season after Grand Prix World and a game that is hugely inferior. I thought we could take a little cheeky look about why it's nowhere near as good as Grand Prix World, and maybe if it holds interest for you guys, we can do something with it. Let's start a new game, shall we? So, who's on the grid? We have Arrows in their worst livery around this time, actually, the one in between the cool orange one and after the badass 1997 livery. We have BAR with that interesting zip-up livery. Benetton, Scuderia Ferrari, Jordan, McLaren, Minardi, Prost, Red Bull Sauber Petronas, and Stewart and Williams. The first thing you'll notice is all of the teams have ridiculously inaccurate budgets. That's the least of this game's problems. We will go for British American Racing. Why not? So we have Jacques Villeneuve. They do have the license for him in this game. He's no longer Johnny Newhouse. And Ricardo Zonta with test driver Patrick Lemery. That's a very Lemery name. We have a Supertech engine, Magneti Marelli Electronics, and an AP Racing brake system. Not that any of that matters, because we can have pretty much whatever we want. We won't care about these guys. So my issue with this game is it's actually really, really shallow. Now, one good thing is the presentation of the racing segments is actually way better. So I can actually do full-length races for you a lot easier. The downside is there's a lot of testing and bollocks to do first. You get these emails. The emails suck. They're not particularly helpful, but it's usually spam that doesn't really tell you anything. We have some objectives for the year. Finish 6th or higher in the Constructors' Championship. You're having a laugh, mate. Now you can create your own liveries, but you can't change the base. So we'll have permanently this blue and yellow / red and white hideous arrangement, but we can drag and drop basically logos on top of it as we change sponsors over the year. Speaking of which, let me show you the very deep simulation regarding how sponsors work. So, interest, that's how interested they are in the team. These are our current sponsors. Run Free, Teleglobe, Excel and Reynard. Now, like Grand Prix World, this does actually have real companies, so awesome. This is how many races are remaining on the deal, and this is how many assistants we have assigned to keeping them happy. The more assistants we have, the more sponsors we can keep happy. Everyone's a winner. It seems here the ratio they've gone for is pretty much one assistant per race. We'll see how that works. This is a list of overall sponsors, who they're contracted to, and then an overall rating, for how good they are. The only restriction you have, really, is you can't have two sponsors that do the same thing. So, for example, you can't have, Visa and MasterCard. They're two different suppliers of credit cards. They won't want to appear on the same car. That's just kind of common sense, right? Other than that, it turns out how you get sponsors in this game is, forget the negotiation simulation, you just have to write them a nice letter and sort of ask. So, you basically just send them a nice email, and it's perfectly fine to just sort of spam everybody to see who signs with you. I'm going to go for guys that I think will probably fit with our livery quite nicely. But, as long as we don't have somebody on the car who does the same thing, then, they're pretty chill about who they'll work with. You of course have to have enough space left on the car and the driver's race suits in order to honour the contract, so, of course, also important. I think that will do for now. I mean, I could just spam everybody and take the the most interesting ones, but I think we're good for now. And we've actually got a really good budget, because BAR were well funded, if nothing else. You can also license merchandise, but you can't sort of proactively choose to do that. They just contact you and say, hey, we're going to make raincoats, and we'll give you money. And you go, thank you, I'll have your internet money. Same goes for suppliers. As long as you've got the cash, you can have whoever you want. Currently we have Supertech engines. Next year we can have Ford Zetec, Peugeot, Petronas, which is just a rebadged Ferrari, Supertech, Ford Cosworth, Mugen Honda, and Mercedes-Benz. I know what you're thinking, where are the Ferrari engines? I believe only Ferrari can have Ferrari engines. Makes sense. So if you want a customer Ferrari, you go for Petronas. Supertech is completely in the middle. I'm going to, if we're going for sort of a British themed playthrough, then Cosworth is the way to go. So you click off a contract and then you tell them how much you're willing to pay. It doesn't matter if they don't accept, because they'll offer you a counter offer. Same for your electronics. We are with Magneti Marelli already, which are the best ones. We will try and extend that deal. And then for brakes, because it's a controlled tyre at this point, everyone's on Bridgestone rubber, so there's no tyres to worry about, or race fuels for whatever reason. We will go for AP, and the British brand. There we go. And like, this is how it works for everything. This is far more about the race than the management. So this year we have Andrew Green as our chief designer, 100,000 a year with 25 designers on his team. But we can have all these guys. I am going to go for, we'll pick someone British. Mark Smith from Jordan. The Jordans were quite good around this time, actually. Let's offer him a contract. Offer him 500,000 a year plus 45,000 bonus if we win the constructors. Ruffle lol. He's considering our offer. He may say no. Who cares? Then we get on. This interface is really lame as well. We get on to technical director. We currently have Malcolm Osler. He's a filthy Australian, so we need to get rid of him. Be gone, heathen. Adrian Newey would be the obvious choice, or Patrick Head, but I'm going to go for cheeky Mike Gascoigne. Always been a bit of a fan of Gaza, while we're pinching all Jordan's staff. I'm going to put him. I'm going to put that initial offer to him and see what he says. Then we go on commercial manager Les Olsen, American, also a filthy colonial. Let's get rid of him in favour of Ian Phillips. God, we're going after everyone from Jordan. Sorry, Eddie. We'll offer him 350 grand. Then you've got your drivers. Feedback, obviously, that dictates how good they are at providing you feedback on testing laps or during car testing. Your race drivers, they don't want to do certain things that your test driver should be doing. If you make them attend in-season test days, they're going to get pissed. How well they are at starting, fitness, adaptability, like all of this is fairly obvious, and because it's not in German, you can understand it. He's going to go. Ricardo's on to I'm unsure about, but you are going, Jacques Villeneuve, because no. We could get David Coulthard, Eddie Irvine in as like the king British driver, but I'm going to go for cheeky Damon Hill because I like him. Let's offer him 6 million, see what he says. You guys are more than welcome to give your suggestions for a number 2 driver. A lot of these names you will recognise. I'll take my time scrolling through them. Jean Alesi still kicking around at this point, of course. Toru Takagi. Nick Heidfeld enters the fray, as does Mark Genet. Stefan Sarazan, Steve Watson, Lauren Ridon, Gaston Mazakan. Then you've got a bunch of unsigned drivers. Some are real people, some are not. And you can develop them over the seasons. We also need a test driver, of course, but for now I'm not worrying about that. Right, there's no factory to worry about. So all we care about really is keeping the cars in good condition and doing our manufacturing and design. This is the manufacturing screen. We're not worried about that right now. What we want is a greater number of designers. I want to double the number of designers in the team to 50. Because we want to develop our car. We do that here on the design screen. So this gives you an estimation for when the work will be finished. This is working on next year's car, and I want to have that finished a lot sooner if possible. It's the first thing you've got to do, so get that done by September, that would be epic. And then the rest are components for this year's car. Front wing, rear wing, side pods, suspension, and barge boards. I want to work on all of them. So I'll put 5 on suspension, 5 on barge boards. Actually, we want suspension before August, so let's up the ante there, and we're going to need some more designers already. Come back. Has the game crashed on me? There, because I was rendering Grand Prix World in the background. That wouldn't normally happen. I hope that introduction has kind of told you what it's all about. I didn't get a chance to show you any of the on-track action. I'm out of time at the moment, but it's got a very 1990s TV style presentation with some very underwhelming commentary, but it is kind of TV style. If you guys would like to see this playthrough, at least while quarantine is on, then by all means feel free to let me know. You can also give me recommendations for what you'd like to see. And if it's just not for you, then don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section and we'll look at something else we can play instead. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.